Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to our show number 995. Well, as we do our show live on the 21st, we're 3 weeks into Plastic-Free July, calling attention to the enormous problem of plastic waste. So we're focusing a bit more than usual on conservation issues this month. By the way, we're happy to say that Talkin' Birds is now an official member of the Worldwide Plastic Pollution Coalition, which is working to create a just and equitable world free of plastic trash. You can see our membership banner on our talkinbirds.com website, and clicking on that banner will take you to the Plastic Pollution Coalition homepage. Certainly worth checking out for those interested in learning more about plastic pollution and maybe how to help solve the problem. We have a special guest on this topic to help us learn more on today's show. More about that in a moment or two. We have Avian Audio Postcards today from New York to California, or more precisely from New York and California, starting with this one from Nathan.
Good morning, it's Nathan Wilson, Talkin' Birds ambassador from Albany, New York. I'm at Vischer Ferry Nature Preserve in Saratoga County, and I've just been hearing two green herons shrieking at each other near an old part of the canal here. And about 5 minutes ago, I heard my first least bidder never, which is always really exciting. I can still hear it behind me. And if you listen really closely here, you can hear those green herons, along with the warbling vireo, marsh wren, swamp sparrow. Anyway, happy birding.
Thank you, Nathan. They're in the wetlands of the Vischer Ferry Nature Preserve along the Mohawk River, Saratoga County, New York. The second of our two audio postcards today is from a very different place, as we're about to hear. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Ray. This is Mark Dayton, the San Diego Bird Guide, and I am in Newberry Springs, California, which is in the high desert in San Bernardino County. And I am at a small lake, which is the only water source out here for miles around, and I've got a flock of Brewer's blackbirds here, and you can hear them. Not exactly the most musical or nicest sound around, but an interesting bird sound nonetheless. I'm going to be quiet and let you listen to them here. So those are Brewer's blackbirds, and they're pretty common out here in the West. I know when I get birders from the East Coast, they always want to come see them here. But I hope you and your listeners have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye, Mark, and thank you, Mark Dayton, a.k.a. the San Diego Bird Guide. He does great work. You should look him up there, the San Diego Bird Guide. More room for more audio postcards. Yes, we do. And please send us one. All you have to do is grab your smartphone or borrow one and record yourself describing a bird or birds that you're seeing. And then send the resulting file to Ray at talkinbirds.com. That's Ray at talkinbirds.com. Not a songbird, but it is our mystery bird. It's a preview of our mystery bird contest, and let me hasten to add a very special mystery bird contest again this week, because our winner, by correct answer or by drawing, will be eligible for some very, very special big prizes on our 1000th show coming along on the 25th of August. Our mystery bird, which breeds on Antarctic coastlines and nearby islands during the southern hemisphere summer and is common off eastern North America in the northern hemisphere summer, is a small, delicate-looking seabird with a mostly brownish-black body, a large, conspicuous white rump, and short, rounded wings. Our bird is one of the most abundant species in the world, with an estimated population of about 100 million. But if you're strictly a landlubber, you may never have seen one. It's pretty much out to sea most of the time, except during breeding, and that's a short visit there. That's our mystery bird, and some clues and beautiful prizes for today include a big bag of our favorite coffee, shade-grown, bird-friendly, and truly delicious Birds and Beans coffee grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitats for so many birds. And from fresh-cut paper, 5 bouquets, wilt-proof and crafted to last a lifetime and with a very, very small fraction of the carbon footprint of imported flowers. Prizes and clues in the sound of our mystery bird here on this morning's show. Well, our Talking Birds ambassadors are a big deal to us. They help us get the word out about our show and about birds and conservation, which is what we're trying to promote here. And we want to say thanks today to Mike from Plymouth, Michigan. Thank you, Mike. He says he enjoys our show, finds it informative, and always gets a chuckle. I hope that's not only from our bloopers there, Mike, that chuckle, but anyway, thank you so much. And dear Talking Birds listeners, will you join Mike and our ambassadors family? Just sign up. It takes about 2 minutes maybe to do that, and we'll send you some of our beautiful little Talking Birds cards that you can hand out at your convenience to friends, neighbors, co-workers, fellow birders, would-be birders. By the way, we're now going to include an electronic version of the card for all who'd prefer to pass along a card that way. To sign up, just head over to talkingbirds.com and click on the Get Involved tab at the top of the page. Still to come today, we'll welcome special guest Dana Ripper. Dana is the executive director of the Missouri River Bird Observatory, where they do lots of good work in bird conservation and in educating folks about plastic pollution. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for a Let's Ask Mike segment, almost live from the archive, about 2 well-known and similar woodpecker species that are often mistaken for one another, along with Mike's foolproof method for solving that ID problem. And up next, reflecting the fact that we're deep in summer, we're replacing our usual featured Feathered Friend segment with the words of the great Al Batt. Yours truly has the honor of narrating Al's summertime observations from up in Heartland, Minnesota. Hearing a cicada makes the day seem a few degrees hotter. Its call is easily heard because most of the long-winded birds have quieted with the season, with the indigo bunting, vesper sparrow, and dickcissel being notable and welcome exceptions. Robins, house wrens, mourning doves, cardinals, blue jays, and an eastern wood pewee played limited parts in the diminished chorus. There was a dead crow in the yard. The yard crows were having a cow because of that. I infrequently find one hit by a vehicle on a road. They're typically blue-eyed crows, juvenile birds that hadn't yet realized the perils of traffic. A mother fed her fledgling downy woodpeckers at a suet feeder. Food was dropped from that high chair, but she was relentless. Good moms need patience. It was nice to see the red caps on the young ones, in striking contrast to the lack of red on the mother's head and the red nape of the father. There's a good crop of young robins, spotted like feathered fawns, moving about the lawn this year. A male Eurasian tree sparrow has been initiated into a flock of house sparrows, a place where hybridization could occur. I see no sign of gray on his chestnut crown, so I doubt he's a hybrid. The rain pauses only long enough to catch its breath. As I write this, mosquitoes are planning their menus, with me as the daily special. Despite the soggy, hangry skeeters and the dead crow, I'm blessed by all the incredible things I see just by looking, or hear just by listening. The words there, the great Al Batts. You can hear more from Al and see more from him and some great photos and such, too, at albatt.com. That's Bat with 2 T's. Welcome again to our show, number 995. And as we do our show live today, we're completing week 3 of Plastic Free July, a worldwide effort enlisting millions of people to be part of the solution to plastic pollution so that we can have cleaner streets, cleaner, healthier oceans, beautiful communities, and a lot more. Our special guest this morning knows something about plastic pollution, having completed a course through the Beyond Plastics organization and spreading that knowledge through a volunteer speakers bureau created by the Beyond Plastics folks. She is Dana Ripper, who is also the co-founder and executive director of the Missouri River Bird Observatory in Arrow Rock, Missouri, where a big part of her effort focuses on systemic reduction in single-use plastics. And she joins us now to talk about her work. Good morning, Dana.
Morning, Ray, and everyone listening.
Everybody and all of us, and thank you for joining us, Dana. Well, you and I both completed that plastic pollution course with Beyond Plastics, but I'm just sitting here in the studio, and you're out there, in addition to your work with the Missouri River Bird Observatory, giving talks as part of the Volunteer Speakers Bureau of Beyond Plastics, which is just a wonderful thing. Tell us a bit, if you would, about that Speakers Bureau, how it works, who are the audiences.
Sure. Thank you, Ray. So the Beyond Plastics Volunteer Speakers Bureau has been going for a little over 2 years now. One has to take the plastic pollution course that you spoke of through Bennington College and then go through a training where essentially a cohort of people going through the Speakers Bureau training gets together and works on their presentations, makes sure that all of the information is very accurate, and that the messaging is tailored to audiences. And then you kind of graduate, if you will, from the Speakers Bureau and are certified to give presentations as a Beyond Plastics representative. And presentation requests come in through the Beyond Plastics website as well as individually.
So you do these talks, as you say, there's requests coming in, but I think you also do some outreach yourself, right? I think you described it as inviting yourself to do some of these presentations. The audience is very different in that case, and what kind of typical reactions do you get?
It really does depend. I would say that there is certainly more background knowledge already existing in the audiences when we have invited presentations, of course, because you're speaking of an entity, a civic group, or a naturalist group or Audubon chapter or whatever who is interested in the topic. And so there's some background knowledge already existing. I don't know that folks are always aware of the scope of the problem, hence the invitation to present. As far as making our own opportunities as volunteer speakers, a lot of times I'll seek out things like civic organizations, municipal organizations, waste coalition organizations, in order to get this topic in front of more people. And so in that case, right, again, I do think that awareness amongst the general public is certainly much higher than it was even about 5 years ago, but nonetheless, the scope of the problem is still unknown to most folks.
So beyondplastics.org, that's the website, right, where people would go?
That is the website.
That's where you'd find the Speakers Bureau, and it's very easy to find there, beyondplastics.org. Well, speaking of the awareness level, I mean, it's nice to hear what you just said about that, but we talked about this off the air. I went to an event recently sponsored by a local conservation group here in the Boston area. The event included a nice buffet, but what struck me was that the food was accompanied by single-use plastic utensils. So it made me wonder if a conservation group isn't aware of plastic pollution and especially single-use plastics. Well, who is? I mean, so is the awareness level really that low? You're kind of saying maybe not, but I don't know.
Ray, I'm very sorry to say this, but I too went to a conservation organization banquet here in Missouri a couple weeks ago, and there were single-use plastic utensils there as well. It's really very perplexing, honestly. I have, in some cases, seen a higher awareness for using reusables amongst organizations that are not necessarily nature or conservation based. So I think in a lot of cases, it's simply a matter of event organization and, whatever caters or whatever the situation is, it's just seen as like a necessary convenience. When we really need to change that narrative. And I think, you and I and other folks that might be listening that are part of conservation organizations, I think it's really important that we speak with them and make sure that not only are we not creating a bunch of waste, but also we need to lead by example.
Indeed. You talk about this in terms of individual action, which certainly is important for all of us, especially with single-use plastics, but you focus on the bigger picture. There's a lot more that needs to be done. We can do things as individuals, but we have to go back to the source of plastics, right, for the real answers?
Absolutely. I definitely think it's important for all of us to keep doing what we're doing in our own life to reduce and reuse. It has become very, very hard to live in the world without plastic. Plastic-Free July is, in fact, about that. And if there are folks out there that have been trying to use zero plastic this month of July, you know how difficult it is. So I think that's still really important, and I think that it helps us feel good about taking individual action. But as consumers, we don't have the key to the lock in our hands, really. We are told that it is because of consumer action or inaction that we have such a plastic pollution problem, but really we have a volume in production problem. And bigger picture is that we really need to curb our production, particularly of single-use plastics, across the country and the world. Indeed.
Well, I want to say that the course we talked about is a good place to start to really learn about this in some detail. You can find out about the course and the Speakers Bureau at beyondplastics.org. By the way, it's only $100 to take that course unless you're a Bennington college student. That's where the course comes from. So it's a low-cost thing, and it's certainly an eye-opening one and a wonderful one. Before we go, Dana, almost out of time, but I wanted to ask you to give a little plug for Missouri River Bird Observatory. You do a lot of wonderful work there, and I know we can find you on Facebook and Instagram, and you have a great YouTube channel. Maybe plug that a bit there.
We do. Thank you for the opportunity, Ray. Yes, so the Missouri River Bird Observatory, as the name suggests, is focused on the conservation of birds, which makes this Talkin' Birds conversation particularly important, I think. We actually got into the topic of plastic originally because of the effect that plastic is having on birds. And since we're entirely conservation-focused, that's one of the topics that we address. But we also have just a number of various opportunities. A lot of them are virtual, so folks can tune in from anywhere. And Ray mentioned our YouTube channel. We have dozens of videos about all manner of things, nature and conservation related. A lot of them are focused on birds. So that's it. At Mo River Bird Obs is our handle on YouTube.
Right, at Mo River Bird Obs. So just a shortened version of the name Missouri River Bird Observatory. Dana Ripper is co-founder and executive director of the Missouri River Bird Observatory, Arrow Rock, Missouri, and a member of the Beyond Plastics Speakers Bureau. Dana, thank you for your great work on behalf of birds and the planet. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Dana Ripper here on Talking Birds, and up next, it's our Mystery Bird Contest in just 1 minute.
The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or are packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com.
It's our mystery bird. It's a bird that breeds on Atlantic coastlines. Okay. And nearby islands during the southern hemisphere summer, and is common off eastern North America in the northern hemisphere summer. A small, delicate-looking seabird with a mostly brownish-black body, a large, conspicuous white rump, and short, rounded wings. Here's a bonus hint. Our bird is named for the man often called the father of American ornithology. What is that bird? Time is short, so please give us a call as soon as you can. And don't forget, if you are a winner today by the correct answer or by drawing, you'll be eligible on our show number 1000 for a really special selection of prizes on that show on the 25th of August. Call us as soon as you can. 781-837-4900 is the number. That's 781-837-4900. Meanwhile, Mike O'Connor will attempt, and I'm sure succeed, at solving an ID problem for us here on Let's Ask Mike in just 1 minute.
Welcome to a world where bird feeding is enjoyable for both you and your feathered friends. Introducing Squirrel Buster Bird Feeders by Brome. Our innovative feeders are designed to keep squirrels at bay, ensuring that your garden birds get their fair share. And the best part? We offer lifetime care for every feeder, making your purchase worry-free. Transform your garden into a bird paradise and keep it that way forever. Sorry, squirrels, it's just for the birds this time. Visit Brome.com, BROME.com, to discover our full range of Squirrel Buster feeders and join the Brome family today. Brome, where birds come first, and our commitment to you lasts a lifetime.
It's the question of the ages. How do you tell a downy woodpecker from a hairy woodpecker? Men have been trying to figure this out, and women as well, for a long time. And guess who's figured it out? Of course, Mike O'Connor has done it, and he is here to tell us how it all works. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, I cracked the code, Ray. I cracked the code.
The one I think, I know they say downy is dinky and hairy is huge. I just always remember that.
Hey, look at that. I'm done.
That's it.
Good night.
There's more to it, though, right?
There's more to it. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine who's a well-known photographer and travels around the world with National Geographic doing their photography, posted this beautiful picture of a hairy woodpecker in flight, and he was telling people how he got this great photo using a strobe light and blah, blah, blah. The only trouble was it was a downy woodpecker that I noticed. Yeah, so there you go. And the way, in this case, in a photograph, especially in flight, these two woodpeckers have white edging along their tail, white tail feathers along the edge. And this is hard to see in most situations, but the downy has black spots on the edge of his tail where the hairy is mostly white. But that's a rare thing that you can see that. But for the most of us, we should pay attention, like all birds that you see, pay attention to the beak. The beak gives the bird away more than anything. And in this case, the downy woodpecker and I'm going to watch my Massachusetts accent the best I can here. Woodpecker is a really dinky beak, really small. It's about a third the size of the bird's head. It's just a little tiny beak where the hairy has beak is nearly as long as its head. It's a big, heavy-duty woodpecker-looking beak. So if you see a bird with a little dinky beak, it's going to be a downy. The plumages are roughly the same. Forget about those spots that I mentioned. But the plumages are the same, but the beak is much larger. Hairies act like woodpeckers. They land on big trees. They hammer on big trees. They go to thick branches. Downies act like a songbird. They'll go to the trees also, but they'll also land on little
plant stalks or cattail stalks or thin outer branches. Again, they act more like a little bird, and they are little birds. The size is tremendous difference. Downy woodpeckers are basically not much bigger than some sparrows, or smaller than some sparrows, about the size, barely the size of a tufted titmouse, where the Harrys are bigger, they're more robust, about the size, nearly the size of a robin. So the difference is pretty noticeable. They don't have to be side by side, as everybody wants to think. Oh, well, they're going to be side. No, just if you see a bird that looks like the size of a robin with a big woodpecker beak, it's going to be a hairy woodpecker. And the abundance, these birds, everybody should know because they cover the continent. The whole continent, everybody gets these birds. The downy's a little bit more common, and especially more common in our backyards. They like young trees. They like newly developed areas. They're the first to move in, where the hairies like older trees. So if you see a bird at your feeder, and it's got a big, thick bill, hairy, don't have to look for the spots, don't have to look for anything else. And the last thing I want to point out at this time of year is these birds, there's a lot of babies around, and as you know, downies, especially the males, and hairies have that red patch on the back of their head. All my customers tell it, oh, I got a red-headed woodpecker. Anytime they see red, they automatically call it a red-headed woodpecker. But in this case, they have that red patch at the back. But the babies, the first-year fledglings, the juveniles that just hatched this year, the patch, for some evolutionary reason, have it on their forehead, and it kind of weirds people out. But that's just a young one. But look for the thick bill and look for the woodpecker behavior.
Which is the bigger one again?
I know, I forgot.
No, I think I got it. Thank you, Mike.
All right, back to next week.
Mike O'Connor at the famous Birdwatchers General Store on Cape Cod. I'm happy to say that we have time to do our mystery bird contest. If we're quick here, we have calls from VA and CA. That would be Virginia and California. We'll start with California. And Scott. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Marsh Vegas.
Marsh Vegas. That's right. This is a town called Marshfield. And
I grew up in Situate when I was a kid. That's what we called Marshfield.
Why do they call it that? Do you know? I never heard anybody explain that to me.
Well, if you went to Marshfield on a Friday night, it was a gamble. You didn't know if you were going to, find a girl or maybe get in a fight.
Wow, there's more to this story. I can see that. But anyway, Scott, what about our mystery bird here?
Oh, right on, Ray. Thank you for the opportunity to I'm guessing here.
Yeah.
I'm going with Shearwater.
Shearwater is the guess right there, and that didn't seem to be quite exactly what we were looking for there. Scott, do try us again, and thanks for that call.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the time.
All right. Leslie is in Alexandria, Virginia. Good morning, Leslie. She's in Alexandria, but is she with us is the question there. Let's see. Are you there, Leslie? I think we're almost getting through to here. I can hear something that sounded like it might
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
Welcome. What do you think our mystery bird is, Leslie?
I'm going to guess a Wilson Storm Petrel.
A Wilson Storm Petrel or a Petrel. Either one is good enough for us right here. Yes. Beautifully done. Named after the great ornithologist pioneer Alexander Wilson, although that name is probably going to change soon because we're changing all of those bird names named for people pretty soon, but more on that later. Leslie, thank you. Congratulations. Stay on the line, and we'll send you those prizes.
Thank you.
All right, Leslie in Alexandria, Virginia, correctly identifying the Wilson Storm Petrel or Petrel. And that's it for our show this morning. If you'd like to help support our show, visit our Patreon page at Talkin' Birds. Next week, for our final conservation-focused show for Plastic-Free July, we'll hear another revelation about clean transportation. And that's it for today. Thanks for being with us, and see you next week.
The Bird Show. I like that. I love it.
Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.